It was late in the afternoon on the 3rd of June. The loose collection of gunslingers and gangsters who met in the first session were riding the train south towards the capital city of Rigum when they noticed a group of men on horses riding beside the train. Two of the men leaped from their horses onto the back of the train and broke their way in, guns drawn. "Greetings, travelers!" the leader shouted from horseback. "I am Laszlo Rene, famed outlaw, and this is a train robber!" Without warning, Orin cast an large reduce on Laszlo's horse, turning it tiny. Laszlo ate shit as the horse disappeared from beneath him and was left behind by the speeding train. Thunder quickly drew his guns, killing two of the bandits, while Jiru placed down an eldritch sentry turret which killed the remaining man on horseback. Laszlo Rene crawled to his feet and stared at the speeding train. "You have not heard the last of Laszlo Rene!" he shouted, shaking his fist. "Well, that was boring. I didn't even get a chance to draw my gun. Fucking amateurs." "Yeah, they were chumps. Still, brings me back to the good old days. Attempting to rob people so shortly after a disaster. It's shameful." You know what the problem with criminals is these days? Everyone's gone stupid. Everyone thinks they're invincible. You have any idea who those guys were? I've heard about a gang of train robbers in this area. Call themselves the Salamanders. Those guys weren't salamanders. The Salamanders are all dead. Alusai sat down next to Artemis. "We weren't properly introduced earlier. I'm Alusai." "Artemis. My grandson and I are heading to the capital to request aid for the small farm towns devastated by the blizzard. Would you care to come along?" "Look, I'm just passing through. Then again, it's not like I have anything better to do." "Strange occurrences call for strange friends. What about you, old turtle?" "I told you, I'm getting out of the country. I don't have any intention on freezing to death." Alusai glanced over at Jiru, who was taking apart his sentry gun. "I'm here on confidential business." Alusai nodded and walked over to Clementine. "That leaves you, young lady. These times are very dangerous. Would you care to—" "Look, I understand you're trying to be nice, but I don't go around helping others if it doesn't benefit me. You and your merry band of heroes should go off alone and forget you saw me." "I'm not a hero. I am just trying to ensure the survival of others." Late that night, the train's brake squealed as it came to a stop at the station, right behind a stopped train. The party got out to find out what was happening. An engineer explained that the sudden cold had destroyed the boiler and that there wasn't any way to move it. Jiru offered to take a look. "I could fix this, but it would take a few days." "That's manageable." "Now, I need to get to the capital as soon as possible." "Why?" "First, I need to repair my communicator, and a large city is more likely to have the parts I need. Second, more people to speak with equals more chances that someone has seen my quarry. The point is, I need to find a faster way to get there. Do you have a map?" Alusai unfolded his map. "If I can get some sort of automobile or domesticated riding beast, I can cut across the desert to that castle, sail across the lake, then rejoin the rail line and take it to Rigum." "That's a roundabout route." "Yes, but speed is vital." Alusai and Jiru asked around and discovered that all of the town's horses, as well as all of the town's gold, have been stolen by bandits. Right then, Thunder and the others walked up, leading 5 horses. "Hey, old man, my morally dubious new friends and I found some horses." "Were these horses in the possession of bandits?" "Don't worry, we killed them and took all their loot." Alusai crossed his arms and looked down on his grandson. "Hey, if you want to tell these guys they have to give their money back, that's up to you. In the meantime, I'm riding south of here on my new horse." "Humph." "Not south, west. It'll be faster." The party rode towards the castle, Jiru sharing a horse with Orin. Late the next day, they arrived at a large keep sitting beside a lake. Tattered flags waved in the wind. "I would like to request information about this location. The royal family used to live here till they all died. Well, most of them did anyway." "How did they die?" "Murdered, from what I heard." "How unfortunate." People get murdered every day. People live, people die, and the world keeps turning. It's all part of the cycle." Alusai went up and knocked on the gate. An old butler poked his head out. "What do you want?" "We're travelers, seeking shelter for the night." "We also have important news for the king." "It has been a long time since someone came to speak with his majesty." "In that case, it is very urgent you let us in immediately." The butler led the party through the gate into an old, decrepit throne room. A large man sat on the throne, passed out, a beer bottle in his hand. Ahem. Presenting the ruler by birthright of the Kingdom of Finnegan, His Majesty, King Travis Diggory Finnegan II. I'm up. Jiro bowed to be respectful. Don't need to do that, Orin whispered. He isn't really the king of anything. That's good. Visitors! I love visitors. Lawrence, go get them something to eat. Of course, Your Majesty. This place seems a bit empty. It'd probably be easy to rob. Hush! What's that? Oh, right. Yeah, I don't have many knights left anymore. Most of them go back to the village at night. They can't keep up with me when I went to party. Don't worry, I'm not undefended. Even when I'm blasted, there ain't a man alive who can beat me in a duel. Right. Your Majesty, I come with news about the blizzard. Blizzard? What blizzard? The one that destroyed my farm 4 days ago. A blizzard destroyed your farm? Oh nah, that's terrible. It destroyed many farms. Was not have noticed it. Castle's got thick walls. It keeps the cold out pretty well. Road's End, Rustler, likely many of the other small villages as well, are in dire need of aid. Are you able to help? Probably. I got some food in storage, some gold lying around. I'll see what the knights can do in the morning. Thank you, Your Majesty. Feel free to spend the night. There's plenty of empty rooms just gathering dust. Is it alright if we take a look around, explore this fabulous home you have here? That's fine. Just stay out of the vault in the basement, if you know what's good for you. Finnegan shambled towards the dining room to get another drink. Alusai, Jiru, and Orin followed. Clementine, Artemis, and Thunder stayed behind. Wanna go rob that safe? Yep. As he entered the dining room, Orin looked up at the skulls hanging from the wall. Are you a big game hunter, King? My whole family was. Spend their lives hunting the most dangerous game in the entire kingdom. Yuan Ti. Old enemies of yours? The oldest. Finnegan, through half-glazed over eyes, stared at Orin, suddenly realizing he wasn't human. By the way, what are ye, anyway? Beach turtle, born in Mardig. Not related to the Yuan Ti at all. Good, that's good. Me family spirits would get a bit mad if I let one of them snakes in here. Right. I don't have a problem with the tabaxi, though. I usually keep to the coast, which I can deal with. Of course, you're pretty far from home, ain't you? It's a long story we'd rather not get into. Speaking of your family, where are they? They've all kicked the bucket. Terrible, terrible shame. Me cousin Duncan, he was a swine. Poisoned all of them so he could take the throne from me pa. And then he up and gave it over to those bastards for Mardig. Hence me current miserable state, a king with no kingdom, alone with nothing more than a butler and a very large wine cellar to keep me company. Meanwhile, Team Crime We Love Crime snuck down to the castle's basement. Artemis picked the lock. The vault door slid open, revealing a pile of skulls. Suddenly, all the candles in the basement went out. Thunder attempted to slam the vault door shut, but he was too late. The skulls flew out of the vault, cloaked in thick shadows, and attacked Artemis. Artemis drew her gun and fired, casting Shatter. The skulls exploded into a pile of broken bone shards and fell to the ground. Upstairs, Finnegan heard the gunshot. He grabbed his sword and ran for the stairs. Back in the basement, the skulls pieced themselves back together. The trio fired as they backed away, but the army of floating skulls kept coming. Travis Finnegan reached the bottom of the stairs. He swung his sword at Artemis, slicing through a skull floating right next to her head. Orin and Alusai reached the basement. Orin blew up a skull with Chaos Bolt, but it just reformed. The vault! Get them back in the vault! Finnegan shouted. Alusai grabbed one of the skulls out of the air and threw it into the vault. Clementine grabbed her brooch and activated Turn Undead, which forced the skulls to fly back into the vault. Finnegan slammed the vault door shut. What did I say to ye? Stay out of me vault! Hey, don't try to turn this around on us. You have literal skeletons in your closet. Why are there skulls in your safe? Because they tried to kill people when they got out. You could have told us that. I did. I said, do not go in me vault. What else could I have told you? Why do you have skulls in your safe? They're sentimental. They're your family, right? The spirits of those killed by Duncan? Makes sense they're so aggressive. With everything that's been going on, the borders between worlds must be pretty thin. It's the type of thing that makes spirits more active. I apologize for my grandson's transgression, Your Highness. Hey, I only came down to keep these two out of trouble. Huh. I do not care. You may spend the night, but in the morning, I want you to leave and never come back. Travis stormed back upstairs. Alusai glared at the criminal trio. I'm not going to admonish you. You're your own people. But once again, you have done something more dangerous than needed. You need to better think out your choices. Clementine scoffed at him. Thunder walked back upstairs. He found Travis sitting on his throne. Were any of ye hurt by the skulls? The king mumbled. Nothing we can't heal from. I apologize for prying into your personal life. The souls of my family, they're angry. They cannot rest as long as the killer still lives. Then why don't you kill him? Ha! I could not get within 10 miles of that man without being killed by his goons. That bastard Duncan, he is the lieutenant governor of the frontier. Ridiculous, ain't it? He betrayed his family, gave away his country, and he's not even the one in charge. I'd like to make a deal with you, Travis. See, I'm a gun for hire, and a good one at that. I'd be willing to handle your Duncan problem, for a price. If ye can get him, then you'd have me gratitude. I don't want money, I don't want the throne. All I want is for my family to be able to rest. The party sailed across the lake in the morning and continued traveling towards Righam. On the afternoon of June 8th, the party arrived in the town of Heel. In the center of town, in front of the local sheriff's office, the villagers were setting up the gallows. A mercenary was staring up at the dangling noose, a crooked smile on his face. Thunder and Clementine both recognized the man. Clementine sprinted for an abandoned house across the street as the man turned around. His gaze fell on Thunder. Thunder, old pal, how's it going? It's going fine, given the circumstances. Yeah. What have you been up to lately? Traveling with my grandfather, Thunder said, gesturing at Alusai. Damn, you're one big motherfucker. I'm Clax. Thunder and I used to do some work for hire together back in Righam. Are you still working as a mercenary? I'm a bounty hunter at the present moment. Actually, this shindig here, I put it together. There were these dwarf brothers working in the mines down Incorporated, sent here by the Rocksteadies, who, organized labor gangster types, operate out of Las Varta, that mining city in the northwest. Anyway, these Rocksteady pricks started a riot, burned down a few buildings, and, well, you know what happens to rioters. I remember you starting your fair share back in the day. Funny, I'd forgotten your sense of humor. Anyway, I dragged the Rocksteadies back here. They're getting hanged today. How pleasant. Anything I can do to assist? Just, stay out of the way, pal. Alusai noticed Jiro walking over to the local sheriff, a woman with a stern face and a long white coat. What is the sturdiest building in this town? Why do you need to know? I have reason to believe that another blizzard, similar to the one you experienced a week ago, is going to occur in 45 minutes. I need a place to hide, preferably one with some form of insulated wall or internal heating source. Did you say another blizzard is coming? I believe so. How certain are you? Jiro stepped away from the sheriff and looked at his communicator, which now read 44 minutes. Fairly certain. That device you have there looks interesting. Yes, I can speculate that this might look a bit odd to you people. What do you mean by you people? An explanation is overdue. To sum it up, I am Jiru of the Rishtak Interplanetary Enforcers, an organization that deals with incursions by beings from other planes of reality. I was assigned to this region to correct something that has gone wrong in your world. That blizzard, it was created by a device called the Bitter Cold. It, as you saw, can alter the climate to extremes. It was taken from our organization by my target, a man named Kylo Cold, who absconded to this planet. So, you're saying this is your fault? Not my fault. I'm the fixer sent in to clean things up. The reason I can't live here anymore is because of your company? Again, not my department. My responsibility right now is returning you all to your standard lifestyles. Oh, I'm sure you'll fix things. You did such a good job the last time. My communicator was damaged as I landed, and as a result, I am unable to track my quarry. Why didn't you tell us the moment we met? We could have helped you track down this outlaw. Interplanar code frowns upon direct interference. I had to hide in the shadows. Killing that bandit on the train. That's hiding in the shadows. What does this thief look like? Short guy, about 4'2", scaly red skin. Scaly like the Yuan T. I don't know what that is. Snake people. I spent most of my life at war with them. Not a snake. More of a spiky lizard type. My grandson and I will assist you in your hunt. That said, I will continue working to bring back supplies to the small villages. They will need them in the event you fuck up and fail to complete your mission. If I don't complete my mission, there won't be a world left to fuck up. Alisai walked up to the sheriff. Another blizzard is coming. You need to postpone the hanging and tell all these people to go inside. Not happening. I've been ordered to hang these men today. I can't change it based on the ramblings of some native stranger. Then you will die. I'm not afraid of a little cold. If you will not listen to us, then will you at least permit us to hide from the blizzard within the sheriff's station? I don't know what game you're playing, Tabaxi, but the answer is no. What crime is punishable by a 6-hour stint in the jailhouse? I don't know. I guess punching an officer of the law? Cut to 20 minutes later. Alisai, Orin, and Jiru were in the cell. Clementine was still hiding. Thunder was outside, warning people about the blizzard. Only a few of them heeded his warning. Artemis walked up to the cell and laughed. Who's doing foolish things again, in trouble with the law now? By the way, you can escape from this cell by pulling the pins out of the hinges. Have you been in this jail before? A few times, but that was a long time ago. She looked into the cell, staring at a small salamander carved into the brick. From his cell window, Orin watched as the execution began. Clax led 3 dwarven men up to the gallows. The sheriff, with a black eye, read off the list of charges. William Willie Thompson, Billiam Billy Thompson, and Timothy Tim Tom Thompson, you have been found guilty of inciting a riot, property damage, and conspiracy to undermine the frontier. We're innocent, Tim Tom shouted. Your guilt was already decided by the court incorporated. It is not my job to judge it. My only job is to carry out the sentence you have been given. Clax dragged Willie up to the noose and placed it around his neck. This is murder, Billy shouted. May your souls find peace. Soon, the people will rise up, Willie said quietly. Soon, the frontier will be free. The sheriff reached for the lever to drop the floor. Orin subtle spelled a mind whip, striking her directly. She let go of the lever and clutched her head. The countdown on Jiru's damaged communicator hit 0. A blizzard struck the town of Heel with all the mercy of a freight train. In the jailhouse, Alisai kicked the cell door down. The party worked quickly, grabbing pieces of wood and boarding up windows to keep out the cold. Outside, people screamed and ran for cover. A large yeti appeared out of nowhere and tore through the crowd. Thunder, standing at the doorway to the jailhouse, gunned it down. An ice monster resembling a bird broke through a gap in the boarded-up windows, but Alisai smashed it with his halberd. Some people made it to the jailhouse, some didn't. Still standing at the gallows, the sheriff wiped the blood from her nose. She looked out at the falling snow and screaming civilians and made a choice. She grabbed onto the lever and pulled, with all her strength, brute force pushing the frozen gears. The floorboard dropped. Willie's neck snapped. The other dwarves, panicking, ran in different directions. Clax drew his gun, shooting Billy in the back as he ran, killing him. Tim Tom, on the other hand, made it to the jailhouse. Orin grabbed his arms and dragged him inside before boarding the window shut. Clax glanced at the sheriff. She was dead, frozen standing upright, her hands on the lever. He looked past her, seeing a young woman huddled around a fire in an abandoned house, and smiled. Alisai and Thunder began nailing the jailhouse door shut to keep out any monsters. Right before they hammered in the final nails, Clax squeezed inside. Brr! It's cold out, ain't it? You acted foolish, staying out for so long. Well, you know, I had a job to do, and that job is now done. He glanced around the jailhouse looking for Tim Tom, but he was nowhere to be found. Orin stood in the corner, silently concentrating on his invisibility spell. As the blizzard raged and the lines between planes became weak, Artemis Doanna's gun began to glow. She stared at it. Then she heard the whispering. Artemis. She walked to a wall and peered out through a crack between boards. The shadow of a man was waiting for her in the blizzard, whispering her name. She sighed, drew her gun, and broke the wood apart with shatter. What the hell are you doing? Artemis ignored him and jumped out the window. I'm a little preoccupied right now. Can we do this some other time? She walked through the snow, staring down the ghastly figure. As she did, images moved through her mind. She remembered when she was first arrested and a man named Kuori helped her escape from jail. She remembered joining his gang, the Salamanders, and robbing trains across the frontier. She remembered the day it all went wrong. They'd been hired to steal a special gun that was being transported to Rigum via train. Artemis opened the safe and stared at the gun, with its sleek silver barrel and soft purple glow. She could hear it whispering to her. Then, Corey grabbed it. He didn't give the gun to the client. He kept it. He won duel after duel with ease, using the silver gun. Artemis watched from the sidelines as the gun claimed victim after victim. And then, late at night, she snuck into his room and took the gun from his hand. It felt amazing the first time she pulled the trigger. Back in the present, Artemis stared down Corey's spirit. You cannot escape your sins. What you did for that gun, it can never be forgotten. I don't choose to forget. I choose to move on. They stared each other down. A spectral gun sat in Corey's hand, identical to the one Artemis held. Both of them drew. 2 shots ran out. Corey, a hole blasted in his intangible chest, screamed as he faded away. Artemis panted as blood dripped from the bullet wound in her stomach onto the snow. She took a few steps forward, then collapsed. Thunder picked her up and carried her inside. Drew put his hands on Artemis and cast Cure Wounds. The gun kept glowing. Outside, another spirit stared at Artemis. You can't move on, she whispered. Not until we can.